Betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It literally rewires your whole nervous system. Join my guest, Denise Stifler, and I to unpack what this means and how to set yourself up for healing. Hi, I'm Dana Williams, founder of Redeemed Identity Ministries and the host of the Redeemed Identity After Divorce podcast, now a top 10 divorce podcast that also ranks number 2 in Australia. This is the show that helps you remember who you are in Christ after divorce. When life feels shaken, your identity feels blurry, and you're wondering what's next. And now you can also watch the podcast and connect with our growing global community at YouTube at Redeemed Identity After Divorce. If you'd like more encouragement, behind the scenes updates, and sneak peeks of upcoming episodes, be sure to sign up for the free newsletter at www.redeemed-identity.com. And don't forget, that hyphen is important. So grab a cup of coffee, take a deep breath, get comfy, and join me inside. Betrayal doesn't just break trust in a relationship, literally shakes your sense of safety, your confidence, your faith, and even how you see yourself. And today we are breaking down what betrayal trauma really is, why it leaves so many people frozen after divorce, and most importantly, what healing actually looks like without rushing, without minimizing, or spiritually bypassing the pain, which the church is really good at, unfortunately. So joining me to do just that is Denise Stifler. She is a certified life coach dedicated to helping women like us who have experienced trauma, abuse, or toxic relationships. She helps them reclaim their lives and heal from the pain from the past. And having worked with women in similar circumstances, she understands how overwhelming that this can be to break free from all of these unhealthy patterns or to leave a relationship where you feel trapped. Her mission is to, and she's chosen to accept it, her mission is to empower women with the tools, support, and confidence they need to heal emotionally, to rediscover their worth, and to create a life filled with peace, joy, and love. So welcome, Denise. I'm so excited you're here. We finally got this on the books.
Yeah.
And I want to tell our listeners this is an interesting day for you that we are dealing with this topic, because this is the anniversary date of a very deep and shocking betrayal in your own life. And you don't have to share what that is. Our listeners don't have to know. But so as we were talking before we started, just talking about this, and especially with the work that you do with other women, this is you taking back.
That's right.
This is you taking back your freedom. This is you taking your healing and walking in that because in the face of the fear of an anniversary date, and all these anniversary dates, they bring up junk.
Yes, they do.
And so when we have these anniversary dates and the pain and the fear and all that rises up, one of the best ways to reclaim your healing is to go minister to somebody else.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, it like transfers. I don't know. It's miraculous. And I think that's biblical. So today we are taking back your healing. We are declaring in the face of the future that this is the last time that this is going to mess with you, because you are now bringing other women to healing. So that's right.
Yes.
And with that, question number 1, I feel like we're doing a round robin. For someone who's new to this conversation, and this phrase betrayal trauma is pretty new, I think, in the discussions. How would you explain what betrayal trauma is, and how is it different from just heartbreak or just a disappointment?
Yeah, this is such a great question. And I think when you haven't been betrayed on such a significant level, it's really hard to understand people that are walking through that, because you just think, well, of course you're sad, or of course you're angry, or of course you're grieving, right? Like, to me, heartbreak is more like you walk through those processes of grief, right? Whereas betrayal trauma is a complete violation of your trust, right? Somebody that you loved, depended on, trusted, supported, cared for, etc., right? They shatter any trust that you had. Like, and in a lot of these cases, it cannot be repaired. because repair takes two people, and
Yeah,
such
that's
a
good.
strong betrayal doesn't always mean reconciliation or repair between those two people.
And to sit to just step in, it can happen,
It can.
but it can, and it's hard work. But now how, because there's betrayal trauma of a one instance. What
Mhm.
about, but is this different from betrayal trauma of, say, a recurring sin in somebody's life in the marriage that's over and over and over, and you deal with this over and over again? Is there a
Mm,
difference between the two? And I should have asked you that before. Sorry about that, but
yeah.
that just occurred to me
No,
because
that's a great. I
because I know you've dealt with both,
Mhm.
and I know there's people out there who've had, that one discovered the affair and your world blows up. Or
Right.
this is a chronic sin that keeps lying, or the lying or the whatever keeps coming in and attacking. Is that different? Is it still betrayal trauma?
I mean, that is an awesome question. I think that looking at patterns of behavior in people, and when people are consistently sinning against you,
Yeah.
consistently breaking your trust, or even just saying, yeah, I'm going to change, or I'm not going to do it this way anymore, and I'm going to be better for you. I'm going to be XYZ, whatever that
Right.
promise is. That promise consistently comes up empty. Again, that is a violation of your trust,
Okay.
because there's this consistent behavior that's just never being met. And so there's this, to me, again, that's just such a lack of trust. And I know for me, I would even like, you start to question your reality of
Yes.
like,
Yes.
did this happen, and how did I miss this, and what? It's life kind of becomes this very strange experience for a while. Like, it's just you don't know
Yeah.
which way is up. Everything is backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And you can lose trust within yourself, but you can
Mm-hmm.
also lose trust. Like, I was questioning my sanity with people that I knew were trustworthy and weren't lying to me behind my back at all times. But because I experienced such a strong betrayal, then
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, is this person lying to me? Are they in cahoots with this person? Like, could they turn their back on me again? And so I think that's a very real reality of it too. That betrayal trauma is, it can send you spiraling
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lack of trust everywhere. Everything around you is shattered. And it's like you're responsible, maybe not for picking up the pieces, but for building up a whole new
Yeah.
life for yourself, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not what you were planning.
No.
You're not
Right.
planning to do that, and here you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are some of the common emotional or even physical? Because it can hit you physically too. What are
Mhm.
some of those signs that somebody might be stuck within their betrayal trauma, even years after the relationship has ended?
So I think, I mean, you talked about how like today is an anniversary for me, and
Yeah.
I have just had like, not huge, but just kind of like these like mini, I'd call them like mini triggers this week, just like little things
Hmm.
that kind of would spike up. Um I think those are normal. I think those are a very normal part of the healing process. I think when you are stuck, you're still kind of obsessing over and really trying to like hold on to what happened to you, right? So you could be angry all the time, right? Maybe you're carrying a lot of shame because even though you didn't do it, you're tied to it. So, what are people going
Yes.
to think of you because you
Hmm.
loved this person, trusted this person, invested in this person, whatever the case, right? Uh,
Wow. I
so,
didn't
I
think about that. Wow.
Yes, but I think that's a very real part of it, and you're almost ashamed to tell people what happened to you because are they gonna judge you for their actions? It's again that it makes you question everything, that betrayal trauma, it really kind of throws you in a spiral for a while. In the beginning, I think that that's normal. There's no shame in that.
Hmm.
You're trying to grip at anything at that point, but I
Yeah.
think years into it, when you're still trying to grip at those things, when no when or like you're carrying around anger, a ton of it, a ton of shame, or you're just numbing out in whatever way
Hmm.
that you choose, right?
Hmm.
That can also, those are also signs. I do want to speak on anger for just a second because
Yes.
in my personal experience, I was very angry for about a year, and I think that was necessary. It's not that I like,
And
go ahead.
I'm so sorry. You're bringing up so many great points. It's like, oh, now here's question A, B, and C. So Do you think that that anger is tied to forgiveness or lack of forgiveness? Because I know a lot of people will say, well, if you're still angry, that means you haven't forgiven. And
I, yeah.
I don't know if that's always the case. I don't know.
I still have moments where I'm angry, and I will say I'm 3 years
Hmm.
in. Um, I don't know if that was shared before, so it's been 3 years, but now it's more anger towards how others that I love are in a similar cycle with this person. And so that's where, like, I have moments where maybe I get like a jolt of anger for my own self, but most of the time now, any anger or frustration I feel, and I think certain anger is just like because there's a lack of justice, and that can be very
Hmm.
frustrating. And seeing other people mistreat people that you love is who wouldn't be at least mildly angry about something like that, whether you can really do anything about it or not. I mean, and that's where your own work comes into place, right?
Hmm.
And the reality is you've been deeply wronged and deeply like hurt. So I think anger is a necessary part of that grieving process and working through it. I think forgiveness is a process too.
Yes, definitely.
You have to let people kind of walk through their seasons of grief, restoring that trust within themselves, restoring trust with other people, because again, your mind just goes into this really weird space, and you have to, and all of those things take time. And I think it's
Yeah.
like you said something about the church just kind of like wanting to put a band-aid on these
Hmm.
things. Well, because they're uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable. Like they're hard things to walk out. And so let me just throw a Jesus band-aid on your gaping wounds, and we will just
Exactly.
move
Or
forward.
just forgive them. It'll change everything.
Yeah.
Magically, all the pain will disappear. Not always. And
No.
forgiveness, I believe, comes in layers. I mean,
Yes.
sometimes it can be a one time and you're good to go and it's
Mhm.
complete. That's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
That's the miracle.
That is the
However,
amen.
when there's multiple betrayals or you've been around this fence again, you know,
Right.
forgiveness comes a little slower and it has to dig a little bit deeper.
Yes.
It and I think you just have to kinda, "Okay, it's that onion, this layer, now
Right.
this layer." And that, like you said, that takes time.
It
It
does.
just takes time, and the church doesn't like to hear that because they're like, "You just need to get over this."
Yeah.
You just need it's like, "Well, yeah, but I need to walk this out. I need to figure this
Right.
out." And sometimes we have to wrestle our mind, our will, and our emotions
Mhm.
into the obedience to the scriptures.
Yes. Yes.
We really do.
And I think too that the big thing that as you're saying all of this, the word that keeps coming to my mind is just a
Yeah.
willingness to move, a willingness to take that next step, a willingness to forgive, a willingness to work through how angry you are, a willingness to trust somebody again, a willingness to work on
Mhm.
yourself so that you can trust yourself and so that you can learn to trust others again. Like it is a process, and it is a one step at a time process. And there is no shame in that. And it's different for everybody. But I think as long as you're choosing to move forward in obedience to what the Lord is calling you to in that
Mhm.
moment, it's like you said, it's an onion. Like, and the Lord knows that. And He's so compassionate, and He sees
Mhm.
that hurt that you've experienced. And He's in it with you. He's not
Yeah.
shaming you because you got so deeply hurt and deeply wronged. Like that's not that it's like counter Jesus. Like that doesn't work. I don't understand. I don't understand that Jesus. I don't
Right.
understand this who is like, you just have to get your crap together. I don't
And you have to do it now.
I don't know that man. I don't want to know that man. That's not the
No.
Jesus I've that I read about in the scriptures and that I experience in my day-to-day life. That's not who he is. He walks with
Right.
me. He'll call me out on things. Like if I am
Yep.
stuck on something and I'm digging my heels in, he will very kindly tell me, "Hey, this isn't who who I want you to be. This isn't who I've created you to be. How can we get ourselves up out of this muck? I'll
Right.
help you. I'll pull you up, but you got to,
Yep.
again, it's a willingness." And I think
That's
when we're
good.
stuck, we're wrestling with that willingness to really move forward because
Yes.
event at some point in this healing process, sometimes the icky stuff is actually more comfortable than healing, because healing is going to
Mhm.
take grit, and it's going to take surrender, and it's going to take you dying to yourself in order
Yes.
to be who you were created to be, and not labeling yourself as a complete victim of what someone else did to you.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That is very true because there in your healing process there's a lot. And it might seem counterintuitive to say dying to yourself. And yeah, at first you're not going to be able to because the wound is gaping and bleeding.
It's too much. Again, don't
It's too
put
much. Yeah, you can't. You have to wait until you've had to clean out the wound. You got to clean out the wound. You got to
Mhm.
get the salve and then you go, okay, now I've got to die to the victim mentality that feels super comfortable and I love it
Yep.
because it makes me feel good. And it's like always eating chocolate chip cookies. It just makes you feel good, but it's
Yeah.
not good for you,
Yep.
but it's not good for you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so, but you have to get just to a certain level before you're like, okay, I need to stop putting myself in the victim's chair. I need to
Yes.
stand up and walk away.
Mhm.
And that is an hour by hour process sometimes,
Yes.
especially in
Yes.
the beginning.
Yes.
So, what kind of questions should we ask ourselves to help us get unstuck, especially when our thoughts are overwhelming, we're spiraling?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just it seems like you're in chaos. Your brain is
Yeah.
in chaos.
And it is. Like, truly it is, and I think acknowledging that helps you take some of your power back for sure. But I would say for anyone kind of in that overwhelming spiral, I would highly encourage you to just like pause. Just pause and take some deep breaths to help regulate your body, because your mind isn't going to be able to give you anything if your body is all out of whack and in this like stress and overwhelm mode. Okay.
Right.
So pause. And I am going to like give my therapist all the credit for this question, because he asked me so much in the beginning, Denise, what do you need? And so
That's
ask
good.
yourself, what do I need?
Hmm.
And be honest, right? Like, do you need to just throw away your to do list for that day? Do you need to have a survival day? Maybe you just need an hour. You need to go take a nap. You need to, turn your brain off and watch your favorite show. You need to put your head in a book for a minute, whatever it is. I mean, there's so many things. These
Hmm.
are very, basic examples, but I think a lot of times when that overwhelm and that spiraling and you don't know which way is up, you're not thinking clearly. And so you
No.
got to take a minute to just like chill, take
Hmm.
some deep breaths, right? And I wouldn't say like you got to be careful, because I think sometimes if this becomes like a habit, then you start to avoid, right? So, something else that my therapist has told me is run towards the pain. Some days
Oh.
you're going to be able to do that. Other days, maybe not so much. That's okay.
Hmm.
But a lot of times, in order to heal it, you got to go to it. You're not going to heal it if you're constantly going back. So, even just deciphering, like, can I inch my way towards the pain today? Do I need to just not do anything and have a survival day? Both are okay. I just don't want people to create patterns of avoidance in their healing, because that's very real too. There can be a slippery slope in that process, but truly trying to regulate your body first and foremost, because then your brain will be able to instead of hurt you constantly.
That's good. That's very good. You were talking about, so I love how you say survival day. I like that
Mhm.
because sometimes the phrase personal care day just seems kind of innocuous, but survival day tells you exactly what you're doing. You're surviving. And so divorce can sometimes bring a paralyzing fear. I know it did with me. I was terrified,
Yes.
terrified. It's fear of the future, fear of finances, fear of the loneliness, fear of even trusting the Lord again, which I struggled with.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
what steps can help people move through that fear instead of being controlled by it?
Yeah. I
And I
love
like how
this.
you said you've got to take steps. You have to take steps towards it. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. I think, just like I just said, run towards your pain, like face it.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
all of its ugliness, and all of the ick that you feel, and pray through that stuff. Like, you do not have to sit alone in your ick. Like, you can take all of that to the Lord. I highly encourage having some form of professional support,
Mhm.
therapy, coaches that specialize in what you're dealing with, like all of it. Support groups. There are like divorce care groups. There are,
Mhm.
you know, parent groups, things like that. And again, you're allowed to crawl through these things. You don't have to, I don't think anyone is expecting you to stand up and just run towards all your healing. Like, it doesn't work that
Mm.
way. Eventually you'll
No.
run, but it's okay if you
Yes.
crawl for a bit, you know?
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
really okay. Yeah, I think when you can start to, like, we've talked a lot about it being a wound, right?
Mhm.
When you get some of that cleaned out, stitched up a bit, and really your mind can start to think a little clearer. And
Mhm.
again, this is a different time process for everybody. So if you have had somebody that has gone through something similar and they were great in, 2 years or a year or whatever, and it's taking you 5, but you're still moving, guess what? You're fine. Like, you're doing just fine, right? Um, and I think when you can really start to believe in yourself and believe in the God who will see you through everything, any
Mm.
fear that you have in this area is going to start to shrink over time. And the fear won't be this dominating force anymore. It'll just be kind of like maybe a nagging thing in your brain every so often,
Mhm.
because that's what fear does, but it won't rule you. And that's what you want.
That's good. That's really good. Thank you for joining us. That's all we have time for today. But join us next week when Denise comes back and we finish our discussion and we talk about wrestling with faith and emotions. We talk about choosing empowerment over victimhood. Hello, we all need to do that. And regulating our emotions and how to seek support. That and so much more. So join us next week for our conclusion on how to heal from betrayal trauma.